Alright, here's the next one. So we're going to be taking some NaCl and AgNO3 and mixing them together and observing what happens. So I'm going to have a test tube here. I'm going to have some NaCl I'm going to put inside. Okay, you can kind of see it's just that clear liquid. Then I'm going to have some of this AgNO3 that I'm going to dump inside and we'll see what happens. Alright, so we took two clear liquids. And now you can kind of see that it is this solid white color. If we actually were to strain this, we'd even see some chunks in there too. So this, you can make the color observation and also talk about how it's forming some chunks. How it's just not a liquid anymore, but it has some solid parts in it as well. Alright, so the first reaction we're going to do is the Zn plus O2 reaction. So make sure you find it on the worksheet. I'm also going to try to put it down below in the video. We'll see if I can edit it to add ZnO2 at the bottom. But hopefully you can remember this is the reaction we're doing. Hopefully you've done the first part where you balance the equation. And now we're going to actually see the reaction so you can answer number 2. So what I'm doing is I'm taking some zinc powder and I'm going to react it with the oxygen. Now we're going to add heat to it to help us see the reaction better. So you'll notice as I am kind of sprinkling this powder on, it's turning that kind of bright blue color as it hits the flame. I'll try to bring it a little bit closer. I know with the light it's kind of hard to tell. So I have a normal flame going, and then you can kind of see it sparking and turning that kind of turquoise color as the powder hits the flame. Alright, so write down your observations for that one, then try to do number 3. Number 3 is really hard for all of these, so I'm going to make a separate video where I answer number 3 for you, so you can check that if you need help on number 3. Alright, this next one we're going to do AgCl, and we're going to see Ag to Cl2. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this white powder that's in here, we're going to scoop it onto a piece of paper, like this, kind of spread it out. Okay, and then we're going to put a coin in the middle, and we're going to put it underneath this light source for a few minutes, all right? So the light helps the reaction happen faster so we can see it a little bit quicker. So we're gonna let this sit for a little bit and come back and look at it after about 3 minutes, all right? So let's take a look at this. So I'm gonna dump off the coin. So you can kind of see where the coin was, how it's still really white, and now we kind of have this gray around. If you let it sit for longer, we'd see even a darker gray color form, but just after 3 minutes, we can already see how that reaction happened because we can see the color change. All right, so we're doing Fe plus CuSO4 for this one. And so I have here, it's CuSO4, it's a blue liquid, and we're gonna put iron in there. We're just gonna use a nail and we're gonna see what happens after about, 20 to 30 seconds. All right, so it's in there. We're gonna see a chemical reaction happen. We're gonna be able to visually see it by looking at the nail and the liquid. And it looks like we're already gonna be able to start seeing that. So I'm gonna pull out the nail and I'm gonna show you what it looks like now. So this is what our nail looks like. You can see that clear difference between the color of the nail that was in the solution and the nail that wasn't. And this is evidence of the chemical reaction that's happening when we put it in the CuSO4. Right, we're gonna do Ki plus PbNO3 with a 2. So this is a K and an I. I know it's kind of hard the font on the paper, but it's K and I, they're different elements, all right? So this is potassium iodide, the K and the I. I'm gonna get a little bit of a dropper full of this, put it into a beaker. Okay, kind of turns this reddish color. I'm bringing it up closer for you to see. All right, now we're gonna be looking at the PbNO3 and we're gonna add it into it. So this is a clear liquid. All right, you'll notice when they touch, it makes that kind of mustard color, almost the color of my sweater. And if we let this sit long enough too, you would start to see a solid form in this as well. So this one has 2 different visuals, this color and then also the solid that's gonna form. So make your observations about this and try doing the rest of that worksheet for this part. All right, we have MgHCl. This one is actually one of my personal favorites that I like to do. So we're gonna fill up a test tube with a little bit of HCl in here. All right, HCl, you're gonna see it's this clear liquid that we're filling this up with a little bit. Now we're gonna take a magnesium strip, we're gonna drop it in and see what happens. All right, you'll notice right away we see that bubbling. Maybe you can kind of hear it. Also, if you were to touch this, it feels really warm. It is kind of heating up right where that reaction is occurring. I wish you guys could touch it and feel it and see it, because this one's really cool to actually see. And now you can see how it's just that clear. It's totally broken apart that magnesium and has mixed it in with that liquid, and it was releasing that hydrogen gas that we get. Let's do one more for you to see. Okay, you can kind of see that gas, the hydrogen gas being released. Anyways, this is the HCl with the Mg. All right, for this one we're taking C25H12 and reacting it with oxygen in the air. And so this is actually the chemical formula for the wax and the wick from your candle that you have. And so here's our candle that we're going to use for this experiment. So here's your C25H12, and we're going to be reacting with the oxygen in the air by lighting it up and helping it react with that oxygen faster. And this is actually going to be a combustion reaction, right? Because we're using the oxygen and it's producing CO2 and H2O. All right, so you can write down some, chemical observations why we see a chemical reaction happening here. You can start to see a state change going on. You can see a color change going on, things like that as you light a candle. All right.